Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. Today I'm going to be pruning up my old growth style Eastern White Cedar. I'm growing this cedar in the Cathedral style with all the upright trunks, the tight foliage to the trunk lines to represent an old growth cedar that's over 1,000 years old. Over the summer, the cedar shed its outer layer of rough bark, revealing this smooth cinnamon colored bark underneath. And that's typical of cedars as they get old. The rough bark changes to this smooth bark with ridges down it. So it's kind of exciting to see this happen naturally. You can see it's just kind of flaking off by itself. I've been letting this cedar grow over the entire summer and it's grown really well. It looks really nice and healthy. I'm going to be pruning today to try and get the foliage as tight as I can to those vertical upright cathedral trunks. And I think this spring I'll be repotting it into its first bonsai pot. I think it's ready for the next step in its development where it might actually start to look like a bonsai. The last time I pruned this tree, I removed some of the kind of cathedral branches from the bottom. There was too many branches coming from one spot, and the tree looked a little awkward. It was sort of one-sided, the foliage, but now it's kind of filled in on this side a bit more. So today I'm going to start with the main apex of the tree, the thickest trunk coming forward, getting it pruned to a tight conical form. And each of these upright trunks will have like their own conical form eventually. And it should look quite convincing, I hope, as an old growth cedar. I'll show you some pictures of cedars from young to old. And I'm looking for that old cedar, over 1,000 years old. I've done a lot of work on the roots of this tree to get a nice radial root base, and these ridges will extend up the trunk eventually. You can see some of the veins swelling, so that'll improve with age, but I'm happy with the root base. I think with the next repotting I'll expose a little more of the roots and it should look quite nice. This deadwood on the trunk, that was from the original tree. It was just a stump that was cut off by a saw. And I kind of fixed up the deadwood, and I've been growing these upright cathedral trunks. So it's slowly coming along. I'm going to begin the pruning now. So I need to trace this main trunk line up to find the apex, which is right here. So I want to keep it fairly tall. I don't want it a short, squat tree. I want it to look tall and elegant. So I've got a branch going to the inside here that I'm going to shorten to the first branch. So here I go, taking that off. This is my tallest apex on the tree, and it's going a little crooked, so I need to redirect it vertical. So I do have a shoot at the back, and I have some shoots here, and they all look healthy. So I'll take it off to here, putting that back. I have a branch coming forward, which is getting very, very long. I want to keep these branches tight to the trunk line, so I'll prune it off here, taking the tip off. I'll take this one back to here, taking that tip off. I'll take this one back as far as I can, keeping branches both sides, left and right. There's a bit of dead stuff at the tip there. I'm going to prune this branch back, frond back, And I'm going to pinch some of these tips. They're getting quite vigorous. Trying to tighten up that conical form. I've got a hanging branch here. I'll just prune the tip off. So my apex is getting a little more defined. I have a branch out the back here that's a little long. I'll prune it back. Just taking the tip off. I've got a branch down low here that's going vertical, and I will prune it back, and probably quite hard. I'll either prune it back or prune it off. It's a vertical shoot coming off a horizontal branch, so I think I'll take it off, leaving my branch out the back, taking that off. I've got a big branch coming out the front here, and again I want to tighten it to a conical form, so I'm looking how far I can prune it back, and I can go quite far actually. I can at least go to here, and I will, taking the end off, and I may be able to prune that back further. I'll prune some of these fronds back, tightening it up a bit. There's some vertical growth here I'll prune back. So I'm just working down the tree, compacting it, pruning these long branch tips off. Getting rid of some of my dead stubs at the end of the branches where it's just a bit of dieback, which happens quite often on cedars. Okay, so it's looking good there. I've got a vertical shoot here I'm going to prune off. That one. I've got a branch coming up the front which has a ladybug on it. I can reduce that at least back to here. I've got a frond here coming out. I can reduce this one back to here. Taking that off. And then out this side I've got some really, really long branches. So let's have a look at those. So I can at least prune the tip off here. And I can prune these fronds back, making them more compact. This frond can come back to here, and this one back to here. That gets that branch a little more compact. There's some growth here that's crossing the trunk line. I'm going to remove that. And I may take this one back further, like that. Just sorting out that branch structure. I'll take this one back a little more too. I've got a hanging branch here. I don't want that coming out the front. I'll get rid of that. I've got some growth going vertically from the inside of a branch here just to clean up this structure. Getting light in there. Prune this one back to there, and this one back to here. Now, on this branch, this part of the branch is going in a nice radial direction, so I'll shorten it. And then part of it is going a bit off here. I'll prune that away, and I've got to prune this part of the branch off. It's not going radial to the branch. It's kind of goes almost 90 degrees, so I'm taking that right off. This one. And you can see how this is making the apex a little more conical. I have a vertical shoot coming here. I'll take that off. Prune this one back. Prune this one back. There's a frond coming out the front I can make more compact. There's a branch here. You can see it comes from the back, and it kind of, the radial direction is out here, and it's kind of cranked around. So I either need to remove it or shorten it for now. So I'll shorten it to some healthy fronds back here. That helps. It may get removed later on once I kind of study the tree a bit. I've got a healthy frond coming out the back here. I'll need to shorten that. Shorten this one. Pinch the tip. Pinch the tip. There's a healthy frond here. I'll take that back. This one can be taken back. In this case, I'm going to remove the front one and keep the back two, and then I'll shorten them. Pinching. Oh, it's got that compact. So the main trunk line is looking good. Well, actually, this is a branch off the main trunk line that I see. So this is a cathedral branch coming up here, growing vertically, and then I've got the tallest trunk line back here. So yeah, I've got another vertical cathedral branch here that's getting very tall. I'll need to prune that back quite a bit, at least to here. Taking that off. Take this one back to here. So on this cathedral branch coming off my main trunk here, it's getting quite tall. I need to reduce it back because here is my thickest and tallest trunk line, and I don't want it taller than that. So I will prune it to an outward facing branch. So I'll prune the top off here. And you can see it was growing really well. There's some rocket branches on it. Rapid growth. And then I'll prune this back more compact to a vertical shoot like that. And I'll make everything a little more compact on that. Bring these fronds back. Except for the vertical one, I'll keep that long. Okay, that's looking good. Now, my main trunk line, this one in here, needs pruning. So I'm trying to find the apex, which is not here. That one's a dead branch, so I'll take that away. Like that. But I have this one here, so I'll prune this one back more compact. This one back more compact. And then I have my apex here, which I will just leave tall for the moment. I've got another competing vertical trunk line here, so I guess either of these could be my apex. Now, what is the strongest looking one here? I think the one I originally chose, I think this one is kind of coming off of the junction of a branch, so I'm going to remove it. Here I go. Taking that whole branch off. Keeping this as my apex. Now, out front I have a branch here that's quite long and there's no growth in close to the trunk line. So all I can do is prune it back for now. And again, it may come off later on, making it compact. I have a branch here growing vertically from a horizontal branch, and it's kind of growing to the inside of the tree, so I'm going to remove that one totally. Big cut, taking that off. I'll reduce this branch back. And I'm doing what I would call a safety prune at the moment, leaving really strong growth at the tips, and then when I come back and study the tree, I can then, maybe reduce some further. This one can be taken off here. So the idea is to make, a separate conical tree on each of these vertical cathedral branches. That's the goal. So I'm thinking this one branch here is coming straight out the front, and it's growing over the apex of this cathedral branch in the middle. And I don't think I want it. It's too long, there's no back budding on it, and it's, going straight towards the viewer, so I'm going to take it off. Like that. And that opens up this cathedral branch. I can take this one back. I can take the tip off this one. Reducing that more, take this one off. Trying to open this up so I get a conical form to it. Now, off of this trunk line, I have this strong branch here, which has some good back budding on it. And there's a branch going towards the back. I have better new branches, so I'm going to take the old one off. Taking that right off. There's my ladybug up there. I've got one coming out the back here. I'll take the tip off it. Like that. This one's getting very long, I'll take it back. So it's coming along. The next trunk line I'm going to tackle is the one behind here. And I've got a strong branch growing on the inside, going straight towards the other cathedral branch, which is fine as long as they don't interfere with each other. So I've got to make this branch more compact. So I'll start by removing this vertical growth here. I'll cut this branch back. I'll cut this branch back. So now this branch is looking better. There's some growth coming towards the inside. I can prune back shorter. There's a vertical shoot I'll take off here. Another vertical shoot here I can take off. I can reduce this one back. Off of the other branch here, there's one that's going a funny direction. I'll take it out. This one here. So that'll clean up a lot of space in the middle of between the trees. This branch is kind of growing in a strange direction. I'll take it right off. Like that. Now, where is the apex of this trunk line? I prefer to have it a little shorter than this leader, if possible. So I'm looking to find that trunk line. So here it is here. And this is a good vertical shoot. If I were to shorten it, let me just take out a dead branch there. If I were to shorten it, where would I shorten it to? Oh, that's tough. I think this is my strongest leader here. So I'll shorten the leader back to here. And then I'll start reducing some of these branches and see how it's looking. There's a vertical one I'll take off there. I'll shorten this branch back to here. There's one growing up here that I need to shorten. There's a branch coming from in here that's growing vertical. I need to take this one off. That one's gone. I'll reduce this branch back. So you just need to whittle away at these trees. When you start out pruning them, they're just a massive foliage and you can't really see the structure very well. So you just work away at them and slowly the structure reveals itself. Every time you prune a branch back, it reveals more of the tree. Here is a look at the progress so far. So it's looking much better. It looks much more like an old growth tree. I still have a lot of pruning to go though. So I'm down at eye level now looking at the tree. Again, you know, making my conical form on each of these branches. This one's kind of long and it's starting to interfere with the branches beside it. So it needs, I think, removal or at least pruning back. I'll prune it back, taking the tip off like that. That gets a bit more compact. Make that one more compact, and this one also can be taken back quite far to here. Reduce that upright part. Here is a look at the tree. So I've got kind of a little too much length here. I need to reduce that back a bit. It's still pretty jumbly and confusing, but it's getting sorted. So I'll keep working away at it. So I'm always looking for branch direction, trying to keep them radiating out from the trunk so they're not coming out from the trunk on weird angles. So I'm cleaning up this structure here, this branch right here. It's very vigorous and it's supposed to be a horizontal branch and it's kind of reaching up, which is okay, I guess, near the apex, but it's pretty strong. So I need to prune it back more compact. So the idea of all this pruning is to set the tree up for next year, for the growth period. Getting it as compact as possible, and then you let it grow again. So again, the tree is opening up. I'm starting to see the branch structure more clearly now. I've got a very vigorous branch here. That I need to prune back, and just trying to see where. Okay, it's kind of hidden from the front view, but I'll take the vertical part off and I'll shorten it back like that. There's one coming off here, I'll prune back. And this one can get pruned back. Always working to make the tree more compact, which is typical of an old growth cedar. You have these powerful upright trunks and short compact branches coming off of it. So I'm just cleaning out this apex here. checking all the branches and removing new shoots that aren't growing in good directions, removing congestion. Making it more compact if possible. Time to step back and have a look at it again. I'm having a look at the tree from the distance now. It's looking much better. It's got a bit more of a tree-like form to it. It's not so bushy. It's sorted out quite a bit. So I still think I have a bit of detailed pruning to do on it. A bit of sorting out, but it's getting closer. I think it's at least looking like a tree-like form once again. I'm getting closer to completing the pruning on the tree. My final step is to trace every branch and have a look at it and prune it up. Sort of a super detailed pruning. So here I go. I have finished the pruning. So here's what I took off today. A lot of foliage. You know, lots of branches. So let's have a look at the tree now. I'm very happy with the progress of this tree. It's starting to get that upright cathedral style, and it looks much more tree-like today after the pruning. So I'm looking forward to developing this tree into the future. It's an exciting tree to develop. It's got the roots sorted out. It's got good branch structure. Yeah, it'll be exciting to develop this tree into the future. It's time now for today's updates. I'm in the plant room here for today's updates. So here is my bougainvillea. This bloom just came out today. Wow, what a wonderful sight. I have another flower bud at the back there. That should be coming out soon. My style temple. Well, the roots just keep on growing. Have a look at this. So this is just 2 days later from the last update. So there's roots coming out everywhere. Just amazing. Even out of this side, out of the moss here. Yeah, so it's looking really, really good. It's going to be certainly a temple covered in roots. My smaller root over temple is also getting some aerial roots come out. You can see them on the running along here, and there's one up here. So that's exciting too. There's a few running on the surface of the soil here. There's one over here, one back here. So it's good. It looks like it's doing well. There's some more roots coming out of the soil over here. Yeah, so I'm happy. It's always nice to get a few more roots to cover the temple. My bloodwood tree that I just pruned up yesterday, well, the leaves unfolded today. So far, it's doing well. I hope it survives that repot. Very severe root pruning, because it's such a nice looking tree. I just hope it survives. My ficus religiosa here, there's buds coming out everywhere on the branches. So that should be getting its new leaves soon. the little fruit that was on it is still staying on the branch. There it is there. So that's awesome. My plant room is very, very full of trees. So full, in fact, that I do have some trees on the floor down here. I've got my asparagus fern, the saberleaf ficus, and my powder puff tree. So I'm going to try and find room for them. It's going to be difficult. Everything is very, very full in here, but I'll see what I can do. I'm also getting some aerial roots on my frankenficus here. So if you look at the trunk there, there's an aerial root coming out here. There's one here. There's one down below. So that's good to see that there's some new aerial roots popping out on it. So again, it's very warm and humid in here. And the reason it's so humid is that there's so many trees in here and they're all transpiring. And I've got the room, you know, basically sealed up like a giant bag. So it holds all the moisture in here. It's well insulated, so it holds the heat in here. So far everything is doing well in the plant room. Yeah, it's very, very tropical and nice in here. I forgot to show you that I'm getting new growth on the trees. On my Pruning temple, I'm getting all kinds of new shoots coming out here on the tree. The buds are swelling on this tree, the second tree, and the third tree. It's popping out buds all over the bare branches there, which is good because I can cut them back and make them more compact. There's buds all over here. Yeah, so it's liking it in here. It's good to see the progress on my Pruning temple. If you look at the playlist for this cedar, it's changed dramatically from when I first collected it, and it's made good progress. So I'm very excited. And that is all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.